Hey guys, VR Nosy here. I wanted to do this video today to talk a little bit more in depth about facial interfaces for the Oculus Quest and how I came down to my preference of choice and kind of just like which ones I find the most comfortable, what I don't like, what I do like about each one. I think there's definitely benefits to having more than one. Because you're going to have a facial interface for certain uses that work better for specific use case scenarios than other facial interfaces. So let's start out with the default facial interface for the Oculus Quest. The default facial interface, I don't find it uncomfortable, but it does get sweaty, and there's no really clear way to wash it because you can't detach it from the back faceplate. And if I let somebody else borrow my Quest, this gets really nasty. So I'm not the biggest fan of the default facial interface just on its own, because it can also get stinky if you play and you get sweaty. And again, there's not really a way to. I don't want to just throw this in the washing machine with, this bracket around it. So I have a silicone cover here, and I'll link this in the description below. I think for me, if I'm planning on, and I don't sweat a whole lot in VR, even in games like Beat Saber, but if I'm planning on a really sweaty session, then I will usually go to the silicone cover. If I'm letting somebody borrow my headset, every time this is what I'm going to go to because it's so easy to wipe down. And so it goes on pretty easily. I usually start on one of the sides, and you just sort of kind of wrap it around. Sort of like so. So it kind of just goes on like this. If you sweat, you can easily take some form of an alcoholic pad or something if you lend it to a friend, and you can wipe it right down and you can get rid of the sweat. It won't stink or get through. So this is a easy go-to if you're planning on sweating. It does come with the built-in nose guard, which helps with the light, but I think that the nose guard for me, sometimes I felt like it was kind of pressing against my nose a little bit too much, so I have actually two of these, and I actually cut the nose piece out of my other one. But I also wanted the option to have it there, so I bought a second one so that I have two. This particular one also comes with a little slit right there, which don't block your sensor. So I highly recommend one of these if you sweat a lot or you let people borrow your headset. Now, an alternative to this is the ANPR facial interface, which is over here. The ANPR facial interface is an entire thing that's sort of, it replaces the default facial interface that snaps into your Oculus Quest. And it has basically like this Velcro on it that allows you to attach their facial interface. They come with two, a thick and a thin. As of right now, the ANPR facial interface is my second favorite facial interface for the Oculus Quest. It also comes with these little built-in things here for if you wear glasses. I do wear glasses. I will note that for me, I didn't find that those really make a difference in getting my glasses in there. In fact, I find them more of an inconvenience because I find it makes it a little bit more scratchy or uncomfortable sometimes when I'm wearing the headset, and I don't like the way that I'm missing cushion on my face when I wear it, I feel like. It's not hard to apply. You simply kind of just attach it to the facial interface, and it snaps on. It comes with a thick and a thin version of this. The thick one is a little bit more comfortable. The thin one, it gets you a little bit closer to the lenses, so the thicker one might decrease your FOV by just a hair. If you use the back cushioning from ANPR, I would recommend going with the thinner one. The thicker one to me feels like I'm kind of squishing my head a little bit together too much. So when I use this, I go with the thinner one. I have got to where when I let people borrow my Quest, sometimes I will let them use this because I'm no longer using this. I'm using something else, which I'll talk about in here in just a second. So when I was wearing this, the biggest thing that I noticed with the ANPR faceplate is that sometimes I would feel like with longer use, not so much active games like Beat Saber and whatnot, but if I was sitting there and I was watching a movie in Netflix, for example, after a while, this would start to bug me because I would feel like it was burning into my face almost. Maybe that's just me, but that's kind of how it made me feel. And even if I played 2 hours straight in Beat Saber or something, it would start to bug me. But not as much because if you're sweating, it kind of gives a little bit more slide. So maybe it wasn't as bad when I was sweating, but I really like the spatial interface. It is good. It's around $30, so it might depend on your budget. It's definitely an improvement from the standard facial interface. But if you're just going for the purpose of sweat, I would go with the Silicone because of the fact that it's a lot cheaper. You can get these for around $9 to $11. Usually $15 is the most I've seen them go for, as compared to this for $30. As far as comfort goes, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think there's a big difference between the comfort between this and the silicone one. This is probably a little bit more comfortable. So when I talked about it burning into my face, I was looking for solutions, and so I found this. This is called the Phasepad. The Phasepad was really nice around the ANPR faceplate is how I like to use it. I tried it on the standard facial interface and I wasn't as big of a fan, but I really liked it on the ANPR faceplate. The problem with the Phasepad is that the hole is kind of small that you look through. So when you put on the headset, you have to kind of tug on the ends to be able to actually get the thing out of your way so that you can see through it, and that kind of became a little bit of a nuisance. Now I do think you might could take this to an alteration shop and get it modified. It's kind of like a little pillowcase for your cover, and it is very comfortable on your face. I find it a lot more comfortable than the VR cover one, but that being said, it is, again, the hole is a little small on it. Putting it on isn't hard. I'm not actually going to put this on, but you basically slide it in on each side, and then once you do, it has little hooks here that will attach basically around that like so, and the bottom also has a little hook that will come down and will attach it there. So when you get this on, it's actually really comfortable, but the hole is kind of small. So I kept searching for how can I make my Oculus Quest the most comfortable. Now, to give you guys a point of reference here and how many facial interfaces I've gone through trying to find the most comfortable one. So this is called the Oculus Eye Pillow. It was designed for the Oculus Rift, and I used it on my Oculus Rift for a very long time, and it is fully washable, and so is the Phasepad. It's made by the same makers as the Phasepad, and I've used this on my Oculus Quest also, and it actually works fine. It's a little bit tight, but it does work. So this is one of the things that I've gone through, but in the end, I think I would choose the Phasepad over this just because it's designed for the Quest. So here's the other silicone faceplate that I have. Here is some from VR cover. That's the old standard facial interface for the Oculus Rift. The VR cover. So a lot of these were designed for the Oculus Rift, but I'll note that you can take these and you can actually attach them to the ANPR faceplate, or maybe even if you have the VR cover faceplate, you could probably attach the old Oculus Rift ones to them as well, because it's just Velcro on the back, so they do snap on there. And I've gone through each of these and actually tried them on my Quest. And then even for the Quest, I've gone through and I've tried different things. So this is the thick interface for ANPR. It don't have their logo on it. You can't really see necessarily a huge difference between the two just looking at them, but there is a difference. You do, I believe, get both when you place your order. And I do find this one a little bit more comfortable, but it depends on really what else you're modding your Quest with. So another thing that I ordered recently was this cover here, and I will link this below. And I ordered this at the same time that I ordered the Phasepad foam replacement for the Oculus Quest, which is my #1 facial interface for the Oculus Quest. At first I thought this went with it, and it does not. So after playing around with it a little bit, I realized this was made to go with the standard default facial interface for the Oculus Quest. It will not work over the ANPR faceplate. And I really don't recommend this. It's comfortable on the skin. It is very comfortable, but I found it to be a big nuisance to actually get on. There's no really clear way of getting it on. It does sort of kind of just go around the edges, similar to how you put on some of the other similar accessories. And it has these little hooks right here that go around the back part, but I found that they were kind of hard to attach, and they don't always stick either. That's the problem that I'm having with it right now. So okay, I got it on there, and then it also comes with a little piece right here that I'm really not even sure what to do with. And so I kind of, it has a button. I had to figure out, I did button that the other day. It has a button that you can button. I'm not going to button that right now. That holds it in place. So when you get it on, it looks basically like this. It is comfortable, it is washable, but it wasn't something that I was like, man, this is something I'm going to wear all the time. In the top, I found kind of rode back really easily. This was also a problem that I had with VR cover, it took a lot of adjusting every single time I put the headset on to try and get this to be really adjusted well for when I put it on my face, and I don't want to go to that much trouble. So my go-to for my Oculus Quest is the Phasepad foam replacement for the Oculus Quest, which I talked about in another video, my last video. And I can tell you that after switching to this, I have not used anything else for my own personal use, unless I'm planning on getting really sweaty, or I notice myself starting to get really sweaty, and then I'll go to the silicone. But I don't really sweat that often, so if you sweat a lot, then you might want to save this more for movie watching and that kind of thing. But that being said, I'm pretty sure this is completely washable. I have not tried to wash mine, but I'm fairly certain that it's washable, as there is absolutely nothing attached to this, hard plastic or anything, so I don't see any reason why you couldn't wash this. It's just a piece of foam. So again, I haven't used anything else, guys. I'm loving this. I loved the ANPR faceplate. I really did. But I have a lot to compare it to. If I wasn't comparing it to anything, I'd be like, oh man, the ANPR faceplate is the go-to, right? But I have a lot to compare it to, and nothing has came close to this. And so I do want to touch on a few things. So I talked about this in my previous video, and I don't know if I still have the little sticker piece, but it will come with a little sticker that I talked about in my previous video, and you will actually attach it to the facial interface here. I'm rubbing my finger along it right now. It will not interfere with any of your other facial interfaces. You'll basically not even notice that it's there once you have it applied. It's kind of like Velcro, or it allows this to stick to it. So I want to note that when you put this on, know that this isn't snapping in like the ANPR facial interface or the default facial interface. It's sticking to it. And it's not a super strong stick, but it's not weak either. But it is going to take a little bit more care than your other one in terms of when you're putting on your headset and taking off your headset. So what I normally do is you just kind of stick it in there. It doesn't take a whole lot of work. But from right here, I wouldn't stop. I would go ahead and I would take my fingers and I would sort of mesh it down to make sure it's sticking really good all the way around. Once you feel like it's on there good, and you've pressed it down, and kind of this part right here, you want to, if it's bent out like that, you don't want it to be like that. Maybe make sure this is stuck a little bit better, pull it up and adjust it, and get it just the right so that it's the most comfortable for you. I also have these Modicap headphones on mine, so putting on the headset is a little bit tighter than without those on there. So one thing I'll note is, because this is just stuck on here, if you just pull on and yank on your headset on and off, you are liable to kind of pull this off with your headset or have it peel up when you put on your headset. If you got it stuck on there really good, it shouldn't be an issue. But what you want to do, what I normally do, is when I go to put on the headset, I'm going to take off my glasses, I had somebody try my headset earlier and their head was much bigger than mine, but I will usually pull out and come down. And I need to readjust this because, again, I'll let somebody use my headset who had a much larger head than I do. And you want to make sure that this part here is cradled against the back of your head. You can adjust that by undoing the top strap. So make sure that you're wearing the headset correctly. That will also improve your comfort. And then tighten up the sides once you do the top, is what I normally do. And then when I go to take it off, I pull out and I come up. And I'm having no issues with this yanking on or off. So comfort-wise, this is much more comfortable than the ANPR faceplate, than the Silicone, than the standard faceplate that it comes with, than any of my previous Rift CV1 facial interfaces that I've applied on here, than the Phasepad that I've tried, than the Oculus Pillow attached over the standard facial interface. I've tried a lot of things. The only one I haven't tried is the VR cover facial interface. And the reason I haven't tried that one is because every review I've looked at has said that the ANPR facial interface is more comfortable than the VR cover one. So I didn't really see a reason to try that one. The other thing I will say about this, and this isn't something that they claim, but for me, I feel like I'm actually getting a larger field of view with this facial interface. And the reason why is because my eyes are actually closer to the lenses. Part of the reason for that is that with the ANPR facial interface that has to actually snap down in there, you know, there is some unneeded width between you and the actual lenses due to the facial interface. And then you've got the pad on top of that stuck to it, which is increasing the distance between your eyes and the lenses even more. And so if you have ever heard of the Valve Index, which is a very high-end computer VR system, and I've tried it, I loved it, I like the controllers, but I didn't go for that because the controllers weren't integrated well with everything yet, and so that was kind of important to me. But that being said, the one thing that it does do is it allows you to adjust back and forth how close your eyes actually are to the lenses. The closer your eyes are to the lenses, the bigger your FOV, your field of view, is actually going to be. And the Oculus Quest does not allow you to do that. However, what this facial interface does, because there's nothing really between, you know, that extra space of this, is no longer between you and the lenses. It's literally, you have this soft piece of foam between the lenses and you. And so your eyes are very close to the lenses, which increases the FOV, in my own personal opinion. Since I've started using this a little over a week ago now, I haven't used anything else. This is the only thing I'm using. I'm using 140 euro headphones on my Oculus Quest. I'm using an $18 Face Phyllis foam pad as my facial interface, as my go-to. So that should tell you how much I actually like this product. I'm not using, you know, something that's $100, and I have more expensive facial interfaces. I'm using this because I like the FOV increase and I like the comfort. And really, the reason I'm going with this is because of the comfort. The comfort level of this is far beyond anything else I've tried, and it's, I'm pretty sure, washable. So guys, I wanted to talk a little bit more about this because the last video I did on this was rather short. I just kind of wanted to give an intro to this. Know that, you know, I'm not affiliated with any of these products. I'm not sponsored by any of these products. I just do this because I love VR, I love products, and if I can help somebody else find the right facial interface, because I've gone through like literally all of them, then that's what I want to do. So I highly recommend this. I think I'll link this one again below. Let me know if you buy this and what your opinion is on it. I hope maybe this video helps. I think you will notice a difference like I did in the FOV and comfort. I still find and I still recommend the ANPR faceplate, but the nice thing about the ANPR faceplate is you can, you know, peel these off and put a different one on if you have company over. But if you're playing just for you, especially if you're watching movies, you're looking for just comfort right here, guys. You can't beat it. So I'll end with that, and if you have any questions, drop them below. If you know of a facial interface I haven't tried, let me know. Anyway, guys, that's it.